A touching story about two wolf cubs, once rescued as little ones, helped in a different situation. Katya lost her mother when she was little, and although she wanted to hear news about her mother, those around her refused to tell her. The grandmother raising the girl was content with telling her that her mother had flown to heaven and had not returned. Although the grandmother wanted to bring her granddaughter to school like the rest of the village children, but she did not have the money for that, as she was poor and handicapped. And when Katya was 15 years old, the grandmother died, who had suffered a heart attack and left the girl Katya alone. The girl moved to live with her aunt and wanted to know the truth from her about her mother's disappearance. The aunt also did not tell her the truth and told her that her mother would not come again and that she should forget about her. The aunt refused to allow her niece to study, too, because she wanted her to be a maid with her in her home. Katya was a hard worker in her aunt's house, and she was rough at first. The aunt noticed that her niece was energetic, intelligent, and kind, which is why she took pity on her over time. But she continued to do the heavy work at home, such as cleaning the animal stable in which the animals were raised, in addition to cleaning the house and yard, washing clothes, and preparing food. Katya was tired a lot and did not find time to sit with anyone and talk to him, so she sometimes goes out to wander in the forest next to her aunt's house, because it's the only place where she feels comfortable and free. The aunt has never been married before because she hates that men and does not like anyone controlling her, so she prefers to always be free without attachments in order to live her life as she wants. Deprived of money and gifts, Katya would get up early every day and go to collect mushrooms and fruits from the forest and return before her aunt woke up. When she gathers a large amount, she goes out to the village market secretly and tells it there to earn some money. All the villagers loved the quiet, beautiful girl, and they were eager to buy the fruits and mushrooms that she offered for sale. What made her earn a small amount of money and take it to put in her small bag under the bed in which she sleeps. Whenever she noticed that her aunt was angry because she needed the money, Katya would take an amount of the money that she saved and gave it to her, and when the aunt asked her about the source of the money, the daughter refused to answer. One day, while Katya was in the woods gathering fruits and mushrooms as she did, she heard a strange sound there, and then she tightly grabbed the basket in her hand and kept looking around, trembling with fear. The girl kept walking and following the source of the sound until she stumbled upon a small den containing a wolf, and her pups were running and playing. The girl decided to go back and leave immediately, but soon discovered that the mother and one of her pups were dead, while two young puppies remained circling around their mother, unaware that she had died. The girl felt very sad and thought of helping the two little wolves, but she remembered that her aunt would not allow her to take them into her house. Then she held the puppies in her arms and gave them the fruits that were in the basket, and then kept thinking of a way to help her. Katya carried the little pups to Uncle Nikodem, a well-known hunter in the village. The man's very kind and loves animals very much, and puppies are sure to be safe when they're with him. As the girl was expecting, the hunter, Nikodem, welcomed her into his home, and he was very happy when he saw the little wolves. The man brought some food for the two animals and then began examining them to check on their condition. After the hunter listened to the story that Katya told him about how she found the little ones, he asked her to lead him to the place of the den, and there he examined the mother wolf, who was still there with her little one. Then he realized that she'd been shot dead. As for the puppy next to her, he most likely died of starvation or disease because he could not find anyone to look after him after his mother died. Katya begged Uncle Nikodem to keep the puppies with him in his home until they were able to take care of themselves, and she promised him that she'd help him raise her and would bring food daily. Nikodem rejoiced when he heard the girl speak so enthusiastically, and promised her that the puppies would be well in his home. The man kept the wolves in his house and agreed with Katya to call them Karchan and Marshan. With the passage of days, the condition of the puppies improved, and they became active and cheerful, interacting with Katya, who used to visit them every day to play with them and feed them. In addition, Uncle Nikodem spent most of his time with the puppies and with Katya, which he considered like his granddaughter, as he used to receive her at his home and sympathized with her a lot after he learned about her story. He was taking advantage of the period when Katya came to his home and started giving her lessons in order to learn to read and write. And since the girl was super intelligent, she was absorbing so quickly that Uncle Nikodem was amazed. Within a few months, Katya was writing without errors and trying to read newspapers and small stories. The 15-year-old man and girl and the two little wolves had become one family, and they were all enjoying their time in Uncle Nikodem's house. Katya began to take the mushrooms and fruits that she collected to Uncle Nicodem's house and eat them there with her new friends. And with the passage of days, the aunt noticed that the girl no longer gave her food, nor did she bring the fruits to the house. So she became very angry with her and threatened to expel her from the house. Katya was no longer afraid of her aunt as she used to, and she laughed at all the words her aunt said. The aunt noticed the change that took place with her niece and decided one day to follow her to find out where she was going. When she found out, she went to Uncle Nicodem, warned him not to allow Katya to enter the house, and threatened him that she would file a complaint against him. The girl was amazed at her aunt's violent reaction to Uncle Nicodem, and as the days went by, she began to pressure her aunt to tell her why she was preventing her from going with the man. In the end, the aunt confessed to her that this man was her grandfather, the father of her father, who died after he was serving in the Russian army, and that he did not know until now that he had a granddaughter because he searched and did not find her. Katya was shocked when she heard the news. Then she went to Uncle Nicodem and told him what she heard from her aunt, and it became in the end that this is the truth. Then Uncle Nicodem was very happy and asked his granddaughter to move to his house and live with him, which is what Katya agreed to immediately, as she was enjoying her life with her grandfather and the two wonderful animals. The wolves, Karshan and Marshan, have grown up and become adult wolves, while Katya and her grandfather come to regard them as domestic animals. The two animals began to go out to the forest and hunt rabbits, and return in the evening with the passage of time became their absence in the forest for a long time, because they began to get used to life there. One day, while Grandpa Nicodem was absent from the house, Katya was left alone at home. The girl heard a knock on the door, and when she opened it, found 3 men in an advanced state of diabetes. The girl immediately closed the door, but those villains who had been mesmerized by the beauty of the young woman decided to break into the house to kidnap her. Suddenly, Katya heard heavy blows on the door and realized that the men wanted to break it. Then she came out to the window and started running in the woods, and the 3 men followed her. Meanwhile, the aunt was coming to Grandpa Nicodem's house to demand that his sister take his sister back and live with her. And when she arrived at the door, she noticed that someone had hit the door hard and wanted to break in. While Katya was running between the trees, she suddenly met Karshan and Marshan. Then she immediately stopped and sighed and approached them and hugged them as she was breathing with difficulty. She wanted to tell them to run away because there were dangerous people chasing her, but the wolves kept sitting with her and licking her because they missed her so much. Meanwhile, the 3 men appeared and tried to approach Katya, but the 2 wolves attacked them and removed them from her, then pursued them and arrested them near the house of the grandfather, Nicodem, in front of the aunt, who remained amazed at that scene. The 2 wolves remained besieged by 3 criminals until the police arrived, and they were concerned about them. The aunt realized that Katya was safe with her grandfather and the 2 adorable wolves, and she no longer demanded to take her home, but rather went to visit her and check on her.